Hello, welcome to today's edition of Pegasus Test. On today's edition, we're covering Stage 4 of the Hesco Zombie Invitational 3-gun, Longer Ranger. Nobody likes their zombies getting too close, so you want to keep them away as far as you can. Now after Stage 3, having to deal with the zombies up close, Stage 4 having to deal with long range is much more preferable. And this was a simplistic stage, yet a very difficult stage. Your targets were far away, both pistol and rifle. I believe the pistol rack that you shoot at that I believe had 4 or 6 inch plates was at about 35 yards, and you had 10 IPSC style steel targets that you had to gauge from about 150 out to 500 yards. And that was for your rifle side. So, you know, pretty straightforward. You knew what you had to do. This was the longest stage in the fact that you got 180 seconds to do it, and a lot of people, including myself, timed out on this one. This ended up being my last stage of the first day and my first stage of the second day. That's because stages got backed up a bit, and my squad, when we got to this stage, only about 3 people were able to get through before the light conditions got that making the shots was just completely impractical. So they told us to call it a day and then come back the next morning, which was good and bad in some respects, because obviously if you started in the morning, the light only improved for you, but it was damn ass cold the next morning. So, you know, was feeling that cold and dampness in the bones while I was shooting this one. Ran into the first problem of, you know, been shooting with just my hands throughout the day. The next day I had to start in gloves, and that caused me a little problem I didn't expect. This was also really the first stage, if you go in sequential order of the stages, that where I encountered my gear was a disadvantage to me. For the guys who came to the stage with the variable power scopes and tricked out rifles, yeah, they had a true advantage here. I came with a conventional Brownell's M16A1 pattern rifle, and I was shooting the rifle portion of the stage all iron sighted. Now, in some respects that didn't bother me because in the Marine Corps I had to qualify out to 500 yards with my M16A2, and while an A2 has a slightly better sighting system than the A1, I knew the rifle was capable of it, but the time pressure was what got me. My pistol shooting was not as good as it had been, probably one of the worst stages for me pistol-wise, so I didn't clear all 6 plates, so I took 2 misses on the plates. I expended 21 rounds doing it, and I decided I'd spent just about enough time there. Then I moved over to the rifle portion, which the cool thing about that was you had a spotter calling these things for you, because the targets were arrayed out there against the wood background, so if you missed, you weren't seeing your impacts at all. So the spotter was absolutely essential. And I got my hits. The problem is iron sighted, it just wasn't quick as an optic. Matter of fact, on target number 4, which is at the same range as number 3, I think right about 200, I really couldn't see that. That green painted target was blending into the green background pretty good, and I was basically, when I lined up my sight, shooting where I thought it should be. I saw it the first hit, not really for the second hit, and I got target 5. Target 6, I got a hit. You had to have 2 per target. I got 1 of the hits, so that counted as a miss, and then I was just about out of time, so I just started chucking rounds, so I would only have to take misses versus failure to engage, because a miss was a 10-second penalty, a failure to engage was a 20-second penalty. So that strategy didn't exactly work out for me. I'd already spent so much time. By the time I was just launching rounds, I just ran out of time. I prepared for this as best I could. I shot off my pack. I also had adjusted my sling so I could wrap my arm through it in a hasty sling configuration to give me all the stability that I could. But as helpful as that was, it wasn't as advantageous, as I said, as the guys who had bipods and variable power scopes. And the guys who had that made short work of this stage.
Stand by.
God damn it.
the right just a little bit. Perfect.
Everyone knows. He's just letting you know. Off of him like. You're hitting high. Get back, good two. Get back. Get back, go three. Get back. Get back, go to four. Maybe hit low. Left side, elevation's good. Get back. Get back, go to five. Get back. You got one hit on that. Get back, 6, 7, 6. Get back, left edge.
15 seconds.
Left side, come over half a plate. Just a little low.
Going to 7.
Go to 7, get them rounds down there.
Ceasefire.
While this stage was pretty straightforward, and I parred out, I took a lot of penalties for failure to engage and some misses. In a way, it was one of the funnest stages. It was a true marksmanship test. Yeah, my gear was not up to the challenge, and probably even if I'd have got all my pistol hits right off the bat with no misses, I still probably would have timed out. I mean, iron sights just played against you compared to the optics. However, it was still a good, fun test of my iron sights, and was a little shocked that some people were amazed that I could engage those targets at those distance with iron sights, which the rifle is well and capable of going out to 500 yards on iron sights. The military does it with regularity. They just don't do it under that tight a time pressure. We hope you found Stage 4 interesting and informative. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and tune in tomorrow for Stage 5.